So, I want to weigh in on the current conversation happening about Chris Brown. Now, I don't know the exact timeline of all the events, but apparently Kayla Nicole, who is Travis Kelsey's ex, went to Chris Brown's concert and she danced on stage with him. And after the video went viral, Kayla posted on Instagram saying she quote unquote did it for the Brown girls. So I'm assuming that it reignited the conversation about Chris Brown being colorist. And I'm not sure if Chris posted this before or after the conversation resurfaced, but he took to Instagram to tell Black women to stop with the colorist rage baiting. And he also reposted his video dancing with Kayla Nicole to basically say, see, I finally brought a brown skinned woman on stage, so I'm not colorist. And around the same time all of this was taking place, there were also two dark skinned women who went viral on TikTok for saying that they were denied entry to Chris Brown's VIP section.
Okay, so it's been a couple weeks since the Breezybowl, since I went to the Breezybowl, and I just want to share my experience. I went with two of my friends. One of my friends is dark skinned like me, and then my other friend is Puerto Rican, so she's light skinned. So we are all from Cleveland, Ohio. We drove from Cleveland to Detroit for the show, I want to say about 4 weeks ago. So I'm like, hey, are you Boba? Are you Chris Brown's manager? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm here with such and such. He said that you would be escorting me and my friends to the VIP platform. And he was like, oh, no, sorry, I don't have any more VIP wristbands. So mind you, it's 7:10, like 7:05, 7:10. So the concert just started. And I actually saw him have like 50 VIP wristbands in his pocket. So he's like, I'm sorry, sweetheart, I can't help you. And he walks away. Doesn't give us a ticket, don't give us any explanation, just that he doesn't have the wristbands. We're standing there waiting for about 30 minutes to an hour. And me and my friends are watching him give girls wristbands that came way after us. And these girls were mixed. They were light skinned, they were Blasian, they were white, they were like, they didn't look like. So one of the guys from Chris Brown's entourage that was also with Boba walked up to my Puerto Rican friend and offered her a wristband. And she was like, well, what about my two friends that I'm with? And they're like, we can't help them. To make a long story short, we stood there and wasted. We missed Summer Walker and Bryson Tiller because we stood there waiting for somebody to help us for an hour. Boba and the rest of the entourage kept coming up, playing in our faces. They even tried to make us perform for the tickets, like made us spin around, audition, jump up and down on one leg, and stuff that the other women that did not have to do, like the light skinned girls, the white girls, the mixed girls. They didn't have to do that. They walked up, got their wristbands, were escorted down with no problem. So yeah, after them playing in our face for about an hour, we basically peeped what was going on. We realized we weren't, getting in, and that was that. So after like an hour of us waiting, Boba comes back and he gives us regular tickets, like tickets that were like, up in the sections, like up in the stands or whatever. So, I wasn't like tripping, but I just felt like he was only doing that because I had to basically, not necessarily harass him, but stress to him that we just drove all the way here from Cleveland and we were promised like VIP passes, VIP tickets by such and such. And he said, you knew we were coming. So he basically just gave us the tickets because, I wouldn't let it go. To make a long story short, those women that they are taking on stage, that Chris Brown is, performing for on stage, they are definitely pre-picked and pre-selected from that VIP platform that we were supposed to be standing on, that they're standing on, which is why Chris Brown has a preference. But you have not one time seen a dark-skinned girl up on that stage. And his entourage, his management, they're only doing what he is instructing for them to do, which is why you have not seen a woman of my complexion on the stage. All those women look like they's taken on stage because those are the only women that he's given the VIP access passes to make sure of it. I do feel like the reason they don't allow for people to go get their tickets from the box office, how I normally do it, is because they want to see what you look like first. Chris Brown and his team wants to make sure that you pass the paper bag test before you just walk up and they set, basically. I can't tell you guys who to support, but I just want to let y'all know, like, if y'all wasn't paying to see him, y'all wouldn't be seeing him. So that's just really it. Like, he wouldn't give y'all the time of day. So I just want to let y'all know who y'all supporting.
Bye, Chris Brown. We thought we was gonna see you. Your security is bitches. Fuck your security.
It is wild to me that in 2025, y'all are still complaining about this man who has abused multiple women. And after several Black women have already told you that he does not allow dark-skinned women in his VIP section. And listen, Chris Brown is a light-skinned man. I think he identifies as mixed race. So it is okay for him to prefer women who look like him. The real issue here is the dark-skinned women who keep paying and supporting a man who doesn't like them and then getting online to complain about it. And the main reason I don't feel sorry for these type of dark-skinned women is because they think they're special. Maybe it's because they're pretty, so they think that they'll get in the VIP section. I don't know. But I am sorry, ladies. Pretty does not trump colorism. It'll get you far in some places. It definitely will. But not in spaces with men who are color-struck. Just like there are people that will be racist towards you, no matter how smart you are as a Black person or how well you behave, the same applies to colorism. Colorist people are going to be colorist. They can take your money and still be colorist. And I don't even think Kayla Nicole realizes that she was likely only up there because she's a fairly well-known influencer. And her talking about how she did it for the brown girls, that shit is cringy and embarrassing too. Because again, this is Chris Brown, a well-known abuser, a well-known colorist that clearly instructs his team to keep dark-skinned women out of his VIP section. He also very clearly panders to dark-skinned women. Because I remember how he tried to beat the colorist allegations before by doing a song with Normani and putting a couple dark-skinned women in his music videos. But right after that, he and his team went back to denying them entry in the VIP section in his shows. So that's how you know it's pandering, ladies. So Kayla acting like her dancing with Chris Brown was some kind of accomplishment for brown women, super cringe. That nigga was using her to pander to black women like the other brown women he used in the past. Kayla was just too slow to see it. And then when you compare the hypersexual optics with her and Chris Brown to her ex Travis getting engaged to Taylor Swift and being plastered all over Vogue magazine, when you compare the optics, that is not the best look for Kayla, in my opinion. And look, I'm not saying that she has to care about optics and representation. I'm not saying that she should carry the burden of having to be the representation for all black women. However, I do have to point it out because that is part of how stereotypes about black women are perpetuated. The world is already comparing her to Taylor Swift, a white woman, using all of the typical anti-black woman rhetoric against her. And then she walks right into the Jezebel stereotype exhibiting this bird behavior with abuser baby daddy Chris Brown. Like, black women don't have enough dignity and pride for me. I would be too damn prideful to do some shit like this, especially if I were Kayla Nicole. But see, this unfortunately is what happens when you have a dysfunctional Blackistan mentality. A lot of black women feel like it is a once in a lifetime amazing opportunity to get grinded on by abusive entertainers that don't like them. Like, this is a flex for y'all. And see, this is why I keep saying that y'all are not embarrassed by the right shit. Y'all go on and on and on about how black women swooning over white men that don't like them is so embarrassing, but you're not embarrassed by paying an abusive, colorist black man who doesn't like you thousands of dollars to take pictures with or get grinded on. And I saw a dark-skinned woman on TikTok say, oh, well, he doesn't have to like dark-skinned women for me to enjoy his music. Well, why doesn't that same logic apply to the black women that y'all get mad at or y'all get embarrassed by for liking racist K-pop entertainers or for liking white men who aren't married to black women? Because let's be real, if this were an abusive, racist white man that got a bunch of money and support from black women, this will be a completely different conversation. And y'all be talking about how embarrassed y'all are by those black women. But because it's abuse and colorism coming from a black man that y'all like and that y'all are attracted to, all logic goes out of the window and you're giving him a pass. And that's how we know y'all are full of shit. And y'all are the real embarrassments of black womanhood, and everybody sees it but you. And the black women who think they're special snowflakes and come online complaining when they find out that they're not special snowflakes, I honestly don't think they deserve support from the collective of black women, because they were already warned several times. It's one thing if you don't know, but there is way too much information out there about Chris Brown for y'all to still be taking L's like this. And that lets me know that y'all heard the warnings, you just ignored them because you thought they didn't apply to you. You thought you were a special snowflake. And this reminds me of when that plus-size dark-skinned woman got turned away from Club Mona, and all these dark-skinned women came behind her talking about how, oh, well, if you're a pretty dark-skinned woman, you'll get in the clubs in Miami. I didn't have any problems down in Miami. And there were a lot of dark-skinned women dismissing her because she was plus-size and because she was what they considered to be conventionally unattractive. And I feel like that's the same thing that happened when Tokyo outed Chris Brown for turning her dark-skinned friend away from his VIP section. But now there are beautiful dark-skinned women coming online talking about being turned away, and now they're looking for sympathy. But no, you should have listened to your fellow dark-skinned woman who told you what it was. And look, if you're not going to listen and you're going to chance it anyway because you think that you're special, at least have some dignity. Take your L in private and stay off of TikTok. Because now you're embarrassing all of us and you're making all of us look desperate when we already told you that these men don't like dark-skinned women. You're not special and you never will be to colorist men. And I have to say this for those of you who are on the slow bus. Obviously, in general, dark-skinned women can have different experiences with men who are not colorist based on their looks, their weight, their class, or whatever. I'm not saying that no dark-skinned woman will ever get loved by any man ever in life. Of course we do. I am not hurting for male attention and never have. But when it comes to the isms, I just think that those are way too prevalent for dark-skinned women to be publicly trying to other themselves or make themselves more superior to other black women, because it's way too easy for you to get humbled and made a fool out of. I mean, how many times do we see this happen when dark-skinned women, especially who think they're special snowflakes, and either publicly minimize another dark-skinned woman's experience with colorism or latch on to colorists, all to get embarrassed by them later on? Or something will happen, or they end up in a dusty situation that proves that they're not so different after all and they're not bigger than the program. I actually see a lot of this right here on YouTube. I noticed that the insecure dark-skinned women, they always want to be the special snowflake. So they'll come out here on YouTube all new and fresh, and they'll go against me and try to argue my talking points and challenge me. They'll align themselves with colorist men and colorist light-skinned women and mixed women and take up for them and position themselves as the special dark-skinned woman who's not a hater. And then over time, they end up getting rejected and embarrassed by the same colorist they were sucking up to because they fell out of line. But what these women don't understand is that you will never be accepted by colorists because they are colorists. You cannot sweet talk them out of being colorist. You can't pretty your way out of them being colorist towards you. Being fair and balanced won't make them stop being colorist. That is not how colorism works. You're dark skinned, you're unambiguous, so they don't like you. Stop trying to be special so they'll change. They're not going to change. They were like this before you came online. They were like this before I came online. Nothing I said made them be colorist. They were already that way. My platform was created as a response to colorism. Always remember that. So being nice is not going to help you. So stop begging and move on to the individuals who actually like you. And listen, you ain't gotta like me, but coming against me all to repeat what I said months or years later because you got humbled by the colorist, that makes you look slow. And I know how embarrassing that is because I too had to retract my previous statements about black men and the black community and Blackistan after getting humbled by them too. So I'm trying to save y'all the embarrassment. And look, if you think that you're special and you're bigger than the program and you're confident that you'll never experience colorism because you're so pretty and you're so smart and you're so leveled up, or you don't care about colorism, fine. Then just be quiet. If you're that secure, you shouldn't be bothered by another dark-skinned woman discussing colorism. You shouldn't even be in these conversations, to be honest. See, a lot of y'all tell on yourselves. You pretend to be so confident and above these conversations, but then you come online kowtowing to colorists and trying to look like the special snowflake dark-skinned woman that doesn't care about colorism, and you end up getting humbled by those same colorists that you said you didn't care about. And now you somewhere under my video or sharing my video talking about, oh, Chrissy was right. And you prove that you actually did care after all. See, the women who don't care about colorism, they aren't in these discussions. And that applies to the light-skinned women who are talking about colorism as well. Most people completely ignore what they don't care about. But, I think that a lot of women in general, regardless of race, all suffer from the special snowflake syndrome. They all think they're the exception or better than the next woman in some way, and therefore will never experience certain treatment from men. And I'm guilty of thinking like this too when I was younger. But ladies, that is a very dangerous way of thinking because men especially, they aren't reliable enough for you to think that way. And this is coming from someone who has had pretty good experiences with men. I've had a mixed bag, but I also know that as long as we as women are dealing with men in any capacity, anything can happen. So I suggest that you refrain from being arrogant and acting like you're exempt and bigger than the program because you're not. Special snowflake syndrome will have y'all out here looking goofy, just like these women on TikTok crying about Chris Brown. Stop embarrassing yourself like this, ladies. Listen to what other women are telling you. Take heed to the warning so you won't have egg on your face. It's a bad look and it's embarrassing for us all. But yeah, that's all I have to say on this for now. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comments. Also be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.